Magandang araw sa inyong lahat at maligayang pagdating sa Baras Senior High School, home of the Baraseños. Maraming salamat sa pagtangkilik sa ating paaralan. Ako, 10 ng mga guro at mga non-teaching staff sa Baras Senior High School ay wini-welcome kayong lahat. Ngayong araw ay pag-uusapan natin ang mga virtual meeting norms gamit ang Google Meet platform. Ito ay ang mga kinakailangan ninyong gawin at isaalang-alang ng mga virtual participants sa mga webinars, meetings at iba pang online events. Ako si Binibining Hazel Angeline E. Tesoro, ang inyong magiging guro sa Oral Communication and Context, 21st Century Literature in the Philippines and the World, Reading and Writing Skills at iba pang mga asignatura sa Humanities and Social Sciences strand o CUMS. Isa rin akong Google Certified Educator at Microsoft Education Ambassador. Without further ado, let's get started. Una nating pag-uusapan ay ang pag-join sa isang Google Meet call o kahit anong virtual event. Ipinagpapalagay natin na ang virtual na patitipon ay naiset gamit ang Google Calendar at kayo ay naimbitahan mamamagitan ng email na siyang na-receive nyo rin via that email address. So ganito ang appear sa inyong screen. Kung hindi naman, maaaring i-click nyo na lamang ang link na na-send sa inyo via your GC or wherever you got it from. So, pindutin lamang ang link at once you click on that link, ayan, kayo ay papasok na sa ganitong window. So, ganito yung magiging itsura niya. Matapos maklik ang link papunta sa call, kailangan ninyong i-check ang inyong peripherals kung gumagana nga ba ang mga ito. Ngayon, ano yung peripherals? Ang peripherals ay inyong camera o microphone na siyang mag-enable sa inyo. Magandang araw sa inyong lahat din ito at maaari kang magsalita at lahat ng sasabihin mo ay maririnig ng lahat ng participants na nasa call. Ngayon naman, paano gamitin ang camera sa isang Google Meet call? Ang pag-on ng camera sa isang Google Meet call ay isang paraan to let people know that you are present at hindi ka AFK o away from keyboard o di kaya naman ay MIA o missing in action. Sa iyong mobile device, makikita ang camera button sa bandang ibaba sa gitna ng leave call button at ng microphone. Sa desktop naman, makikita ito sa gitna ng microphone at live captions button. Kapag white naman sa mobile, ibig sabihin naka-off ito. Pula naman kapag sa desktop. Kapag gray naman, ibig sabihin, naka-open ito at kung ano ang nakita sa view ng iyong camera ay nakikita rin ng mga taong present sa Google Meet call na iyong dinadaluhan. Kaya naman, kailangan nating protektahan ang inyong privacy sa pamamagitan ng paggamit ng virtual background sa Google Meet. Ngayon, paano nga ba magpalit ng virtual background? On your mobile device, ang una mong step na dapat gawin ay i-turn on ng iyong camera. Pangalawa ay pindutin ang Change Background button na nasa ilalim ng iyong camera preview box. Yung button na yon. At pagkatapos nun ay maaari ka nang pumili ng virtual background among the choices provided for you. Ganun lang kasimple, hindi ba? Ngayon, kapag naman ang gamit mo ay desktop o laptop, maaaring i-click ang icon na may 3 dots sa bandang ibaba, kailera ng ibang buttons, at hintayin lumabas ang pop-up menu at piliin ang Change Background. Pagkatapos ay maaari ka nang pumili ng virtual background na iyong gusto. Ngayon, kung may nais ka namang itanong o sabihin sa speaker o kaya naman sa meeting moderator, maaari mong gamitin ang raise hand button. Paano nga ba ginagamit ang raise hand? Sa iyong mobile device, makikita ito sa gitna ng microphone at ng 3 dots icon papunta sa settings. Sa desktop naman, makikita ito sa gitna ng live captions button at ng present screen button o tanong. At saka ka lamang pwede magsalita o i-turn on ang iyong microphone. Para naman i-lower o sa mobile, makikita ang chat box kapag pinindot ang 3 dots icon at hanapin lamang ang in-call messages. Sa desktop naman, makikita ito sa rightmost part ng screen sa gitna ng Participants button at Activities button. Kagaya ng usual chat boxes, maaari tayong mag-type ng ating mensahe o tanong dito sa chat box na siyang mababasa naman ng lahat ng participants na nasa Google Meet call. Meet call. Lalo na sa ating mga kasama sa call na maaaring may problema sa pandinig. Makakatulong din ito kung may mga pagkakataong mahina ang ating internet connection o intermittent ito o di kaya naman ay kapag static ang audio at parang choppy. Available lamang ito sa ngayon sa wikang Ingles at iba pang wikang Banyaga. So we are hoping ngayon na soon ay magiging available na rin ito sa wikang Filipino. So para i-turn on ang captions sa iyong mobile device, pumunta lamang sa 3 dots icon at saka piliin ang show captions. Sa desktop naman, maaring pindutin ang live captions button o yung may CC. Ang ibig sabihin ng CC ay closed captioning o closed captions. Kailangan natin i-avoid ang pag-press ng share screen button without permission and when not being asked to. Ulitin ko, iwasan nating pindutin ang share screen button o present screen button, lalo na kung walang permiso na speaker o kaya naman ng mga nagpapasinayan ng virtual na pagpupulong gaya ng meeting moderator. And kayo upang magamit niyo sa susunod pang mga virtual events natin sa school o ano pa mang mga pagpupulong, hindi lamang gamit ang Google Meet.
And that's it for our Google
platform. Medyo
So, familiar naman na kayo sa Google Meet. Okay, what I will have to request from you is just to help me ready, of course, documenting our class proceedings by sending a few screenshots to our class chat group. Ayan. Thank you na kagad in advance. Okay, we currently have 1, 2, 3 plus 4, 7 people in the call. That's me, si Rona Rose, Jayan, si Emerlyn, si Denmark, si Aaron James, and Abigail. And I saw kanina si Joyanne, baka may problem lang siya sa internet. That's why she left. So good morning, everyone. Ayan. So I'm also admitting people as they come into the call. Kaya nga I ask for your emails beforehand para dire-diretso tayo, no? And hindi na kailangan mag-admit. Kasi some others have trouble in joining din, ano? Ayan. So, for our attendance, how was your sleep? Ano, kumusta ang tulog? Name section and describe your sleep. Describe in a few words how good your sleep was. Kumusta ang tulog? Baka naman hindi na natutulog. Sige, so, sample muna. That's me, Hazetee. I'm from 11 Shakespeare. I had a good sound sleep. I can perfectly remember my dream. I actually had a bad dream, no? So, ayan. I won't delve into details, but yeah, medyo nagising ako at around 4 siguro yun. Yan. Good sound sleep, pero bandang dulo medyo wale. Okay, I'm gonna check your responses. Ayan, si Emerlyn from grade 11 Pascal. Mahaba yung tulog. Sana all, no? Naku, enjoyin nyo ngayong bata pa kayo na mahaba ang tulog. Dahil pag naging ka-age nyo na ako, walay na. Ayan, Abigail, good morning. And to Emerlyn, ayan. So, si Denmark beat 10. Okay, hingi ka na tulog kay Emerlyn. Ayan, thank you for your responses. Some others, I think, are still typing their answers. Ayan, sige, we'll read that later. Ayan, kay AJ, not enough sleep din po. Ayan, hingi kayo kay Emerlyn. Okay? So, I hope that you would have longer sleep and enough sleep as the days go by, no? Kasi papahirap na rin yung inyong mga lessons, sa 5 subjects that you are taking in senior high. So, yan. Rest din pag kailangan. So, kumusta? So, mental health check tayo after the sleep check. Sige, while you're typing your responses, ayan, si Abby, mahaba tulog, I managed to sleep early. Ayan, sige, sana all then. Thank you, Abby. And si Jaya naman, wait lang, naharangan nung join. Ayan, thank God, maayos naman po ang tulog ko. Ayan, so thank the Lord for such a good sleep. Thank you for your responses. And now for our mental health check, just like the old times, ayan, red if you're doing great, orange if you need help with something, yellow if you're ready to assist your schoolmates, green if you're feeling lucky, blue if you need someone to talk to, Purple if you're ready to listen, brown if you're struggling with something, black if you're in a bad place right now, and white if you're healing from something. Denmark, ready to listen, doing great, and need help with something. And so I hope you find someone who can help you with that something that you need. Thank you, Denmark. Kay Aaron naman, black, bad place right now. I hope you get out of that bad place soon, no? And you need someone to talk to. Ayan. Thank you, Aaron, for sharing. Ano nga yung ready to listen? Purple. Ayan. Nag-purple din si Denmark. Okay, maybe you can talk, no? Thank you. Kay Emerlyn, doing great. Pati si Rona Rose. Okay, thank you for your responses. Ayan, so it would be helpful for us to check regularly mental health state natin so that we'd be aware of what each other is going through. Ayan, and sana alam rin ng family members, ano, so that it won't be a secret to them as well. Jayan is feeling lucky and doing great. Ayan. Thank you for your responses kay Saiza. Ready to listen and feeling lucky. Ayan. So maybe Saiza and Aaron James can talk, no? As well as si Realin Rones doing great and ready to listen din. Ayan. Thank you for being ready to listen. Ayan. To your classmates. Ayan. Good morning din, Jen Carl. Okay? Thank you for joining us. Ilan na tayo? We have 11,000 viewers today. Ayan, isang malaking group hug sa ating lahat. Ayan, thank you for staying and for spending time with me today. Previously, we had speech contexts and types of speeches according to purpose and delivery and speech styles. Kahapon, if you notice, wala akong slide deck kasi super na preoccupy ng SSG elections yung weekend ko. So, wala na akong time mag-slide deck. But yeah, bawi ako ngayon, ano, so I have slide deck today. So, ayan, that's our previous session. This week naman, ayan, we have our kumustahan sessions in Oral Comm. We'll have weeks 11 and 12. Papalapit na tayo sa finish line. Ano, so 13, 14, and then 15, 16, malapit na tayo. No? So today, this week, we'll be having, of course, understanding speech context, speech style, speech act, and communicative strategy. So there you go. Also, we are nearing towards the speech writing. Ano, yun naman talaga yung target natin, speech writing. But actually, sa module, wala kayong activity for speech delivery. But there is a target there na you are to deliver a certain speech. Pero it would be voluntary na lang on our end to have you deliver a speech kasi nga tayo naman ay on printed modular distance learning modality. Okay? So now let's move on to our targets for the week. Ayan, just the same as written in your weekly home learning plans. Ayan, you are to identify the different types of speech context, speech style, speech act, and communicative strategies engaged in by people in various situations. Actually, if you will read the module thoroughly for this week, you will notice there that the content is quite similar from that of the previous week, no? So merong konting mga similarities with that. So because this I think is the more intensive version of that intro part of the content, no, on speech, context, speech, style, speech act, and communicative strategies. Also, this week you are expected to explain that shift in speech context, speech style, speech act, and communicative strategy affects various factors such as language form, interaction, duration, relationship of speakers to audience or receiver of message, roles and responsibilities of the speaker, the message itself, and the manner of delivery of the speaker. Ang haba-haba ng targets, no? But the point is, you're just to explain how speech context, speech style, speech act, and communicative strategy all affect how we communicate to people and how we send their message to them. Ano? So all of these are interconnected, ano, and affect one another. Now, Last target is you're going to use effective communicative strategies in a variety of speech situations. Okay, so that's it for our targets. We have 14,000 people in the call. Ayan, thank you for joining. Now, for the first part of the module in that lesson, ayan, you'll see there an intro on the understanding speech context, speech style, speech act, and communicative strategy. So there's an introductory paragraph here, ayan, about Oprah Winfrey, who is a renowned American talk show host. Ayan, she once said that successful communication always begins with connection. Okay, kahit saan naman ano, because that is the foundation of all relationships, I think. Ano, communication and connection. Okay, so you have to understand that connection between two or more communicators is only achieved if the conditions and factors relevant to the communicative process make it so. So that's why you need to have balance, ayan, balance and juggling acts that need to make adjustments with movements to keep everything steady and controlled. Communication is also a process where connection is maintained through careful balancing and juggling of all factors involved in the communication process. Because if it is not maintained, if it's not steady and controlled, what would happen? What would possibly happen? Anyone? If the communication is not controlled, is not steady, is not maintained, is not balanced, what would happen?
Hindi po magkakaintindihan.
Very good, 8 a.m. And yes, Emerlyn, you want to say something?
Misunderstanding.
Yes, very good as well. So hindi magkakaintindihan and there would be misunderstanding, okay, on the part of the communicators. And that would lead us to a breakdown in communication. Ayan. So very good, the two of you. Ayan. Okay, so ayan, and what's in, ayan, so there's a role-playing activity here, some sort of that. Okay, so you are to imagine that you are a grade 12 honors student and the president of your SSG. So for the past 2 days, you have been preparing for a final graded report in oral comm, which you're going to present during your first period in the morning. You now come to school feeling confident and thinking that it is going to be one great day. So ito, hindi naman siya required, but you may want to put yourself in the shoes of the person, ayan, as described in the paragraph. And then, ayan, with the context provided, think of ways you will handle the conversation. So ito yung mga persons inside the box. Okay, so I didn't bother to take a screenshot of the entire page anymore because anyway, you had a copy of the module naman. Ayan, so here's an example. So sa number 1, si Mr. Reyes, yung oral comm teacher. Number 2, over the phone, you call your cousin Carl. Number 3, si Mama Susan. Number 4, your principal, Mrs. Caparas. Okay? And then number 5, Diego, your best friend and classmate. So it is like you are into a lot of things, no? With just one person, ano, many roles to take and many hats to wear, ano? So, sino nakaka-relate na ang dami mong responsibilities not only as a person but also as student, as a son, as a student leader, 'di ba? And many other roles that we play. So, hindi lang itong person na to yung nakaka-experience niyan. Ano? So, you might want to read that activity and put yourselves nga in the shoes of that person. Okay, 16 people in the call. Thank you so much for joining us. Now, ayan, so we have here what is new. So, hindi rin naman to required, but you might want to read the paragraphs and then answer, no, how will you respond and how are you going to explain your situation. So let's just have number 1 as a sample. Ano? So for us to know how difficult are the communicative situations. So you were not able to prepare for your graded report in oral comm, and then your teacher, Mr. Reyes, calls you to go in front and start your presentation. How are you going to explain your situation to your teacher? Sige, kahit ito na lang muna ang i-test natin. If you were that person who's the president of SSG, a son, a cousin, and many roles to play, how would you respond to Mr. Reyes not being able to prepare for your report? Anyone? Anyone? Any two? Any three? If you were that person na hindi prepared sa report, how would you explain? O kahit hindi na kay Mr. Reyes, kahit sa akin na lang, how would you explain that to me if we are in a face-to-face situation? Anyone? Walang mag-explain na hindi kayo prepared. Okay, so I suppose that all of you are prepared for the report. Okay, ayan. So we have Denmark here. Ayan, example. Okay, so what I was asking is that how will you explain to the teacher that you are not prepared for the report? Yung actual lang na sentence, how would you tell me that you're not prepared for the report? Yes, Emerlyn.
Ma'am Reyes, can I get a little time to prepare my report?
Why?
I'm a little bit short on time and I'm not totally prepared.
Oh, you are not prepared. Maybe you need to learn more about time management, Miss
Yes, ma'am.
Agnes. Do you think?
Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry. And
Oh,
that will never happen again.
oh, thank you. And of course, your apology is accepted. But when are you planning to deliver your report?
Maybe this afternoon?
This afternoon, but we don't have oral com this afternoon, so you will report to me alone or in front of your classmates.
Okay, just a little, maybe 10 minutes later.
Okay, after 10 minutes. Okay, thank you, Emerlyn. Okay, so that's a nice response. Okay, so you gave your teacher an alternative and to give you a consideration, of course, and to give you more time. Okay, so I just hope that you're going to finish that preparation in a matter of 10 minutes. Ayan. Thank you, Emerlyn, for taking on the challenge ayan, of explaining to the teacher how are you going to, yun nga, to give your reasons and to justify it why you're not prepared for the report. Thank you, Emerlyn. Ayan, so here's a message here. Ayan, from Aaron, 2 clap emojis. Ayan. Thank you. So, Denmark, I hope you've had already an example ayan, based on our conversation with Emerlyn. Okay? So, that's it for the other situations. You might want to read that and then think or you have to put yourself in the shoes of that person na ang daming responsibilities and roles to take. So ito rin, I think this is quite hard you are in the middle of your discussion about the tree planting initiative of your school, but you did notice that the district supervisor, wait lang, kilala nyo ba ang ating district supervisors? I'm just gonna ask you right now. Who are our 2 district supervisors in Baras? There are 2, 1 male and 1 female. Who
Ma'am,
are
Sir
they?
Pittsburgh po ba yung isa?
Thank you, AJ. Okay, that was before. Okay, Sir Pittsburgh De Rosas was already transferred to the division office, but still he is a PSDS. Pero wala nang naka-assign sa kanya na municipality. But thank you. Ayan. So he was one of our former PSDSs. But right now, we have Sir Tirso Arambolo. Type ko dito Sir Tirso Arambolo. M. Arambolo. At tatandaan nyo and Dr. Cecilia P. Ramirez. Ayan. So, Sir Tirso is from Binangonan and Dr. Ramirez is from Baras. Diyan lang siya sa may iglesia nakatira. No? So, yon. Pero ang pangalan ni Sir Tirso sa Facebook, Green Panther. Morong, kaya baka akala nyo hindi natin siya tinatag sa posts natin. So if you notice, ayan, I tag them in our activities. So, thank you. Ayan, so that's it, ang ating dalawang PSDSs. We have 19,000 people in the call, ang saya-saya, okay? Dumadami ang oral com family natin. Okay, now we head on to another paragraph here. Ayan, explaining how communication entails a delicate balancing in order to sustain connection. Okay, so that's the thing. Ito yung talagang pinapaintindi sa inyo that communication is about connections. Okay, because it is where communication really start when nagkaroon ng spark. Okay, ganon. So that connection that only communicators have. Okay, so ayan. So you can see here in these paragraphs how all of our lessons are connected. Kaya naman ay didn't require you to return all the modules right away because we'll be using them for the speech writing and speech delivery. Okay? So for this one, we have here a table. Ayan, the factors affected by a shift, in speech context, speech style, speech act, and communicative strategy. This is very interesting because you now study about language form, and language form is not only applicable for spoken language, no, it is also applicable for written communication. So when we say formal language, it is used when talking with professionals. Ayan, so given naman na yan, whereas informal language is when you use it for informal situations. Ayan, and without much consideration to the rules or convention of etiquette, or etiquette, yung norms that are required of us, or dapat you show manners, and finesse. Okay? So, it is casual and mostly not well thought of or prepared because it is used to communicate with people with whom you have close association with, like parents, siblings, and friends. Okay, for example, you're speaking with our two public schools district supervisors. So if you are talking to them, if you are into a student and PSDS relationship, you will most likely use formal language. But if you are a nephew or a niece or a grandchild of Sir Tirso and Ma'am Cecil, okay, maybe you will be using informal language because you have a close association with them. You're part of a family. But if not, if you have such a barrier, ayan, and that barrier is the speech context, okay, you are a student and they are people in authority, then you are most likely use formal language. So that's how our communication quickly changes when communicating with them. So if, again, example, going back to that scenario that you are a grandchild of Sir Tirso or Ma'am Cecil, and then you bump into them during a school event, of course, you're going to show your classmates that you're professional and that you're going to communicate with them in formal language. And that is to show respect to them with them being DepEd school officials, diba? But if you're at home, okay, you may use informal language because at home, diba, walang boss-boss, diba? Walang people in authority, okay? Just family, okay? So that's it. And now, we also look into the duration of the interaction. How long have you already been communicating? Okay, so this refers the amount of time a conversation takes between among communicators. That's why we have the communicative strategies, yung turn taking, ayan, and termination, nomination, because you cannot tell how people are bored already of what you're talking about. So it would be up to you as a speaker how sensitive you are and employ these communicative strategies, whether you're going to end a topic already and then bring up another one, or maybe terminate that and end the conversation at once. Okay? Also, you are to consider your relationship to the speaker. Ayan, we refer to speech style suited to your relationship with whom you are communicating. Ayan, styles can be classified as intimate, frozen, consultative, casual, or informal. Ayan, and it is discussed naman in the other parts of the module. For intimate, ayan, so for family members, for best friends, boyfriend, girlfriend, ganyan, or romantic partners, which comprise private conversations. These private conversations are not likely spread to other people outside that relationship. For frozen naman, this is quite far from that intimate speech style because here the speaker addresses an audience in a formal gathering such as ceremonial events, ayan, mga Eucharistic celebrations like Holy Mass, or even court hearings. Ayan, most especially sa court hearings, have you already attended a court hearing? Sino na dito ang naka-attend na ng court hearing? Kasi ako hindi pa, and I'd like to attend one because before, back in 2019, we had a subject na forensic linguistics, and we study about legal writing, and we were supposed to watch a court hearing, but we were not able to secure a schedule kasi ang hirap pala magpa-schedule sa ganun. And ayun nga, inabot na rin ng pandemic and inabot na rin ng end of term. So we were not able to have that experience. So, yon. And then here, in this kind of situation, the style is set or fixed. Just like meetings using the parliamentary procedure. So if you're an SSG officer who've had experience that, ayan, good for you because that would be useful for you if you run for other positions like sa SK, like rin kami sa JCI para sa ganyan din na structure ng meetings namin, fixed siya. Ngayon, pag fixed siya at hindi na pwedeng mabago, that's when we call it frozen. For the consultative speech style, ayan, the speaker communicates with a person whom he or she may have to clarify things, discuss a problem, or seek advice. Therefore, the root word of consultative is, ano ginagawa natin? What's the root word in the consultative? Consult. Ayan, sino yun? Hindi ko na-catch.
Ako po, AJ.
Thank you, AJ. Ayan, consult. Okay, so you are consulting. Ayan, for an example, you may consult a problem from your guidance counselor. Ayan, so that's one type of relationship. Also, a lender and a loan applicator. An applicant. Okay, so yon from a bank. Also, we can have a doctor and a patient, diba? Yan, so that's consultative speech style. For the casual speech style naman, the speaker shares close and personal information with friends, classmates, or colleagues. Ayan, so ito naman, the common ones that we have, with people within our circle. Okay? And formal, the speaker has to deliver pre-planned or written speech to address a crowd of people, such as giving opening remarks during a seminar, or the president making a public announcement, or delivering SONA. Just like what you did yesterday when I called you on unexpectedly, I did that on purpose sa oath-taking natin. I did that on purpose knowing that you are informed beforehand that we're going to have an oath-taking, and now what would it take for you as elected officers, di ba, to speak before people. So that is already a given. And I was successful naman because we were able to give speeches ayan kahapon, and that makes me so proud. Ano. Thank you then for those who heeded the call and volunteered yesterday, no? So ayan. Hindi ganun ka-prepared pero may konting oras kayo to pre-plan what to say, 'di ba? Before I called on your name, and then if you would notice I spent a little time muna saying your name so that you can plan in your head what to say na message of thanks kahapon. Okay? So, ayan. Meron tayong mga little ang tawag doon, scheme, di ba? To test how good of a communicator you are. And now, as a communicator, you're also required to take into account the role and responsibility of the speaker. And that is you also, and that will depend on the purpose and context of the communication. That is why being a communicator is too hard and complex because you have to consider all factors possible and that you could think of. No? The speaker here may be a person who gives information. Ayan, so dito napapasok yung types of speeches according to purpose and speeches according to delivery. Ayan. So maybe you're someone who convinces others to do something or to join a cause, ayan, or an individual who provokes laughter, ayan. So dito na yung informative, persuasive, and entertainment speech. Hence, this responsibility depends on the purpose for communication. Okay, so are you here to offer us products? Are you here to go for live selling? Are you here to make us laugh? Diba? Or are you here to give us things to ponder on? Diba? Or little bits of information where we can learn so much from. Okay? And for the message, this involves the content of the message. The message may be facts, opinion, feelings, orders, suggestions, and questions. So this is up really to the speaker what to say already. But again, I will tell you that the message shall be always politically correct. And when we say politically correct, yan, it should not offend any person of any race, gender, educational status, social status, ano pa ba, religion, okay, and culture, okay, political, and that's part of intercultural communication. Okay, any questions before I head on to the next part of the slides? Wala naman. Okay, sige. For the delivery, ayan, extemporaneous, impromptu, memorized, and manuscript. Ayan, so you know that already, but ang pinakamahirap actually impromptu. But I don't know for you, but yeah, extempo kasi is there's a limited preparation, whereas impromptu without advanced preparation. So when you're asked, you're going to answer right away. And then memorize, that's a planned and rehearsed speech. Manuscript naman, you're just reading it aloud, no? So, the difficulty depends from person to person din. Okay? So, ayan, other reflection questions. But just telling you how our communication depends on how dynamic the world is that we are living in, no? And that we always have to adjust our communication to other people. Ayan. So, this is where you will read yung explanations on how you communicate with Mr. Reyes, si Carl, your cousin, and all the others that were mentioned earlier. Okay? So, ayan, you might want to read that. We also have communicative competence. So, we must consider the following. Ayan, speech context, speech style, speech act, and communicative strategies. And if you are successful in using these aspects of communication, then you are already a great communicator. So, first up, you have to know what intrapersonal communication is, interpersonal, and public, and also mass communication na hindi lang siya na-add dito. So, interpersonal, ayan, we had that already in the previous lessons. You might want to read this texts as well as the ones that came before in the previous module. Ayan, andun din naman yun. But this is a more intensive explanation of those speech contexts. Okay? So, ayan, and then public communication as well. And then, ang hindi lang nasama dito yung mass communication where we also use communication channels like TV, radio, social media, live streams, ayan. So, that is one. Balik ulit sa speech style, ayan, intimate, casual, consultative, ayan. So, as you notice, paulit-ulit siya, no? So, it teaches you talaga the importance of considering these things when communicating. Ayan. So, ito pa pala, I forgot to say earlier na a frozen type of communication then are prayers ng Catholic Church. But for the other religions, kasi I was asking them my previous batch of students, they don't have structured prayers. Like sa Christian, ayan. But sa Muslim kasi, wala pa akong student na Muslim, so I don't know if their prayers are structured. But for Catholics, yeah, that's for sure. Meron tayong sinusunod na format kapag nagdadasal. Okay, but we have our personal prayers naman, to the Lord na nagdedicate na tayo sa structured, like Hail Mary and the Lord's Prayer. Also, yung kahapon, yung ating ating oath taking, di ba, na meron tayong binasang oath, and that is via Dep and Order na release for the interim guidelines on the election of SSG. Ayan. So that is structured, and therefore it is a frozen type of communication because we did not deviate from what is structured and we read what was shown to us yesterday, di ba? So yun yung in-note natin kahapon. Okay? So yeah, that's it. Any questions? Wala naman. Okay, sige. So, ayan, speech act. Ganun pa rin, paulit-ulit, no? So you will just notice that na, ayan, we have, of course, the locutionary act, and then the per-locutionary act, and the elocutionary act, or the utterance, intention, and response. Ayan. We also had an activity on that last week. There. So, you may just read that. Kasi paulit-ulit naman. Ayan, and then the communicative strategies, nomination, restriction, turn-taking, topic control, topic shifting, repair, termination, which were all discussed previously. Ayan, and how this shift in speech context, speech style, speech act, and communicative strategy is always probable, is always possible, and it can happen anywhere in the conversation, okay? And syempre, at the times that you least expect them. So you have to be ready as a communicator, no? So from the discussions, it is clear that the following elements are affected by a shift in the communicative processes. Number one, the language form, di ba? If you are in a certain situation na you are talking with a person in authority nga, but that happens to be your relative as well. So once you are out of a public scene, 'di ba? O halimbawa pumunta na kayo sa mas private room, that would cause a shift already in the speech style because you're going to have the casual na from the formal, 'di ba? And number two, we have the duration or the length of communication, which could be shortened or lengthened depending on how the conversation will be maintained. Just how we communicate in chats, 'di ba? Some people, like syempre mga matatanda, ito hindi ko nila lahat, but some elderly people find it rude if you just give them a like response, yung may singen silang mahaba and then you will just do a like response like this. Parang that's rude to them, ano. So, if you're speaking with people of old age already, it would be helpful to end the conversation properly or to reply with at least a few sentences ano before you end the conversation. Um, Most likely now na meron na sa Facebook nung little reactions that you can add to a message, 'di ba? So you can already react to a message. So that comes off as rude as well kapag nakita ni elderly person na na-seen mo and then you only had a reaction. So parang wala kang reply, 'di ba? So that's also rude for them. This is based on experience, ano, not as an old person but as a middle-aged person na rin, ano, siguro young adult. Ayan, as a young adult who's communicating with elderly people. So kaya ngayon it's very helpful for us na recently may bagong update si Facebook na when you send a message to a chat group, there will be a notification to you via the chat rin mismo na halimbawa, Jen Carl reacted heart to your message, di ba? So that's nice na rin because that would give you as the sender notification that someone did not ignore your message, that someone took the time to react on your message, di ba? So that gives the sender na rin the peace of mind that he or she deserves. Kasi tayo parang in this age of social media, we are bothered and we have this anxiety na, nasin na yung message pero wala nagre-react. This is again based on experience kasi I am the secretary ng graduate school student council namin sa PNU. And ito may konting sentiment si president tsaka yung aming PIO na kapag send sila ng messages, syempre ang haba-haba ng message, diba, pinag-iisipan, pinag-e-effortan, but not all people take the time to read because nga may mga trabaho kami and ganon, and they parang they sought hindi naman approval but they aired out their sentiments to us, and that caused us then to take time na rin to read their messages and at least react, so that would be at least to give them the peace of mind nga that they deserve because they feel ignored, di ba? And kapag ang tao they feel ignored or they feel not wanted or not important, they will lose interest and that would lead the team to its downfall. So kaya we have to build trust, di ba? In the student council, we have to build trust and to build camaraderie with each and everyone. And with that, and I thank you. Charing. Okay, sige. So, anyone who would like to share the same experience na it caused a communication breakdown but with the help of tech tools, di ba, you were able to get by? May mga ganun ba kayong experience? Sige, baka nag-iisip pa. Okay, sige. Number 3, the relationship of the speaker to the receiver of the message that could be intimate, frozen, consultative, casual, or formal. And number 4, the role and responsibility of the speaker, the message and its delivery, which could vary depending on the context and purpose of communication. Ayan. So you just have to remember that these adjustments can happen anywhere in the conversation and that you must be ready for them. And paano magiging ready? You will be ready for those changes, for those abrupt adjustments in the communications if you are well equipped with what is a speech context, what is a speech style, what is speech act, and what is communicative strategy. So it all starts with awareness, and pag aware na kayo, you are heading towards na as a great communicator. So eto, activities din to, so hindi naman na kayo required to cut pictures, ayan, and may rubric din dito for that, but that's not required. Also, you have here unscrambling the words to form the statements that will exemplify the speech styles. Ayan. So ito, mukhang masaya itong activity na to, no, because you are going to restructure the jumbled words for you to be able to form a coherent sentence. Ayan. So you might want to do this activity without consulting yung answer key na nasa likod, no? So you might want to test then your knowledge of sentence structures then as well. And ito, example situation, ayan, again, hindi rin required. Ito, sa letter C, this is where I got your activity for the week. Ayan, and I merged it from one of the activities then that follow here. Ito, maganda din to. Itong activity na to. Wait lang. Itong letter D, because we're going to read the text below, extract the observable communication strategies, and then you're going to write the statements that represent the strategies on a clean sheet of paper. But again, this is not a required task. Pero maganda siya, no? So you might want to try if you still have the time and energy. So, ayan, yung karugtong niya. And then this one is an enumeration activity where you have to provide the needed information. Again, not required. Also, we have here, ayan, you can also test your knowledge of speech context, speech style, speech act, and communicative strategies. But again, these are not required. So, eto, dito ko minerge yung activity na nauna. So, yeah, that will lead us to our activity for this week. Ito, assessment. For you to assess yourself. Ayan, this is an additional activity, but again, not required. Ayan, so this leads us now to our task for this week. Ayan, so weeks 11 and 12 na tayo, second quarter. Ayan, so we're going to understand yun nga, speech context, speech style, speech act, and communicative strategy. Ayan, with the targets that we have. So in 3 to 5 sentences, you are to write your communication to the following target audience given a specific context. And that is if you were given a chance to talk to them, okay? But this does not mean that you're going out of the house and look for tricycle drivers, look for a group of professionals commuting to and from work and a group of children. No, you're just going to stay at home and imagine you're talking to them, okay? Given the situations that they are in. Okay, so now that streets are already open, syempre from the lockdowns, and that there are already public transport vehicles available and catering to the commuters, ayan, you might want to write your message, what are you going to tell them if they do not follow the safety protocols of the government. Ayan. So what would be the harmful effects of that to them? And number 2, ayan, a group of children. Did you know, last Friday, I was about to go to the bank. And then, dito lang, meron na padaan dito sa may lotohan na a group of children, siguro there were 7 of them. Ayan, meron sigurong 7, may 8 hanggang 12 years old siguro. And they were not wearing face masks. Grabe. So, hindi ko alam kung asa ng mga magulang nila and what are their parents or guardians doing. But, yeah, as in, wala silang face masks and nagtatawanan pa sila and all. So, I hope na wala kayong kapatid na ganon o mga pinsan ng pakalat-kalat sa kalye na walang face masks. Okay? Because the virus hits hard on children, parang yung mga organs lumalaki and all that, and you might want to look it up on your own, pero yun, I'm just bothered na may mga ganon. And yeah, so number 3, a group of tricycle drivers. Ayan, what would you say to these tricycle drivers if they do not follow the safety protocols of the government? And we're going to refer to the rubric on page 17. So you know how you will be graded. So ano yung rubric na yon? Rubric na nasa page 17, ito siya. Okay? So I'm just gonna zoom that in so that you'll know how I'm gonna grade you. So, liwanag. Okay. For the target audience, ayan. So, ayan naman na yung tatlo, professionals, children, and drivers. And then, for the second column, we have excellent, followed by very satisfactory, satisfactory, and then needs improvement. So, you are sure already to receive these points. Ayan, 3, 5, 7, and 10, no? So, for you to hit 10 points, ayan, content of the speech is very relevant to the topic and contains words or language appropriate to the target audience and the situation they are in. So, dapat nagamit nyo yung speech context, speech style, and communicative strategies, and speech acts as well. So, 7, kapag hindi masyadong appropriate, and relevant lang pero hindi very relevant, no? 5 points if not so relevant and yung words or language ay hindi appropriate. Ano? So dito tayo magkakaiba-iba kasi nga drivers, children, and professionals. So dito pa lang, iba alam nyo na iba na ang context at iba na rin ang style. And kapag 3 points, ayan, needs improvement tayo if the speech is irrelevant to the topic and contains words or language inappropriate to the target audience. Okay? So, yan. Feeling ko naman mostly makaka 10 points dyan. Ano? So, ayan, ito yung ating activity sheet. And before I end the call, I will, give you an idea of the feedback that I collected from your outputs. Ayan. So, just a quick reminder, mabilis na lang to, just a few reminders on your portfolio. So, ayun nga, this provides a self-reflection and self-assessment and gives you areas you did well and points you might need to improve on. Sana nakarating na sa inyo yung iba kong na-checkan, pero right now, ang dami ko pang checkan. Oh, wait lang. Ito pa yung mga checkan ko. So, wait lang. May background kasi ako kaya baka hindi natin nakikita. So, ito pa yung mga checkan ko. Ayun, ang dami pang section. So, please bear with me and I need a little more patience. Pero I'm checking your papers one by one and giving the necessary feedback on what you need to improve on. As regards your work. And ano pa ba? A portfolio, ayan, is a starting point for your goal setting and targets. Ayan, syempre, it's also a badge that you can show off to family members as regards your progress as student, syempre. And ayan, it encourages communication between students and family or household members. I am just so happy how family members take the time to write comments doon sa feedback, doon sa monitoring sa ilalim, and that makes me so happy because that only shows how involved your family or household members are when it comes to your learning. And syempre, kapag nai-involve ang parent, mas nafe-feel ni student na the parent and the guardian are there for them, to support them. So, it's also a means of reporting on students' learning progress. Ayan, for you to know then how were you graded and para hindi na kayo surprised when you receive your grades. Kapag na-receive nyo yung card nyo, okay, so I deserve this grade because this is how I performed in the subject. No? Ayan. And that is why, ang sabi ko pa dito, you shall receive your work, your checked and recorded work from your class advisors. Ayan. So, how to prepare the portfolio, kahit anong folder, hindi kailangang bago, for as long as it contain all the checked and recorded outputs. Ayan. So, just add a cover page to that, may letterhead, Republic of the Philippines, Department of Education, Region 4A, Calabarzon. Yung usual, ano. So, pakitingnan na lang sa weekly home learning plan, andun yun, kung ano yung dapat na letterhead. Para senior high school, para sa Rizal. Okay? Tapos sa gitna, syempre, portfolio in oral communication and context. Bandang baba, name nyo, track, section, strand. Okay? And then if you want to add my name, then you might want to. Pero sana tama yung spelling, no? Ayan. Add a table of contents to your portfolio. Ayan, to organize your content. Ano-ano yung laman. Later, I'll be showing you yung listahan natin ng activities para informed din kayo. Okay? Deadline of the portfolio, November 5. That's why kailangan ko rin bilisan mag-check ng inyong output. Any questions? You might want to address them to me sa ating chat box. Ayan. So, hoping na everyone would get an A+ sa ating portfolio project. Ayan. So, do not forget also to do the mental health check-in. Siyempre, iba pa rin yung weekly and then yung ating ginagawa during the kumustahan. And I am relieved na somehow you are open in sharing to me what your mental health state is. Yes, AJ, what's the question? Yeah, AJ, go on. Baka nagtatype pa si AJ. Doon po ba sa speech act, sa activity, yung utterance mismo ang ilalagay? Yes, you might want to, or you might want to detail din if that's per locutionary or yung locutionary or the elocutionary. Yes, pwede rin. Okay, so you can add there yung mismong utterance, pero kasi nandun na siya sa message eh. So pwede mo na lang dyan ilagay anong specific speech act yung na-employ using with the message that you have written, ano yung speech act na nagamit mo doon. Ayan. Thank you, AJ. Ayan. So, thank you for your question. Kasi sa message mo na ibubuhos lahat eh. Yung sasabihin mo doon sa groups of people na yon. And then doon sa mga rows pa sa baba, you will just detail doon ano yung ginamit mong speech context, speech act, speech style, and communicative strategy. Ano yung possibly na magagamit pala kasi hindi nyo naman talaga actual na kakausapin yung drivers, yung professionals, commuting, tsaka yung children. Assumed lang, assuming. Okay, thank you AJ. I hope I was able to answer the question. Ayan, yun nga yung ating mental health check-in. Kasi may nire-receive ako na feedback na walang nag-explain daw sa kanila nung content. So, feeling ko baka hindi sila nakakasali ng kumustahan ever. Kaya I also asked them. Tapos, ano pa bang mga feedback? Na tawag dito, wala raw teacher. Nasan ako? Diba? Parang ganon. And, feeling ko kasi hindi naman rin ako nagkulang in printing resources like saan nyo ko mako-contact, di ba? Ano yung groups natin, yung support group so that all of you can join. Pero as of now, 100 plus pa rin yung members ng ating group and kalahati pa nun, grade 12. Di ba? So, yun. Kaya I'm also bothered. Kaya nga, pinipilit ko rin na maging members lahat ng group chat. Ito rin, parents or guardians report on students' learning progress. Minsan nagko-comment si parent, pero wala namang sagot na pinasa si student. Kaya minsan nalulungkot ako, wala, nasan yung answer, di ba? So, kumusta yung pag-aaral? Ang comment ni parent, okay ang pag-aaral ng aking anak, pero walang sagot, di ba? So, yon. Kaya, bother din ako, baka nagpapapirma, pero nakatupi yung answer sheet, baka hindi pinapakita yung sagot. No? Ayan. So, any questions? Ayan, sige. So, nakapag-question naman na si AJ. Ayan, so hindi ko na to deliver, ayan. Kasi ito rin yung dati ko pa rin sinasabi na huwag mag-copy-paste ng sagot. Until now, may nagka-copy-paste pa rin sa from the activity sheet, no? So, ayan. Naulit yung slide. Ito na yung list of learning activities natin sa oral form. So, nandiyan na, you might want to take a screenshot, ayan, para sure kayo na kumpleto yung activities nyo. So, habang nag-screenshot kayo, I'm just gonna head back to that note. May notes kasi ako yung mga feedback sasabihin ko nga sa inyo as regards the comments on student outputs. So, on general comments, ayan, you had a comprehensive interview report. Merong ibang parents na nagbibigay talaga ng detailed reports dun sa babang part, and then doon sa interview nyo rin with that's for week 3 and 4 ang detailed ng ibang interview, and hindi na nagamit halos yung activity sheet ko kasi ang sikip, so walang space, kaya most of you had the yung additional na answer sheet. So that's okay naman. Some others included screen caps, printed screen caps of the actual conversation, which I appreciate, syempre, kasi that proves na totoong nangyari yung interview. Also, you had summarized interview details. Merong iba na hindi in toto from the actual interview. Pag sinabi natin in toto, yung as in yung mismong response ni person, yun ang nilagay sa activity sheet. And I commend you on that kasi that shows na ni-rephrase nyo and sinamarize nyo yung sagot nung in-interview nyo. Kasi meron ding iba na nahahalata ako na siguro nag-send lang kayo ng answer sa GC, tapos dun sa GC nyo, kinapi ni student yung answer just to show na nag-interview. Diba? So, yun. Pero that's okay. Na-amaze lang ako dun sa iba who took the effort to summarize and to rephrase what has been said by the interviewee. So, weeks 5 and 6 naman, there were good sets of questions that made use of the 5 Ws and 1 H. Ayan, very good. Merong ding iba who may pumasok kasi nawala yung notes ko. Wait lang. Ayan. Tapos, there were also extra efforts in documenting and submitting the interview reports. As in, yung sagot pa nung in-interview, sinubmit, but all I needed was yung 5 questions na itatanong nyo sana yung tinanong nyo sa in-interview. Also, ito based on the comments, may nagko-comment na, teacher, nahirapan po ako mag-video, but I didn't mention a video in the weekly home learning plan. May sinabi ba ako mag-video? Wala, di ba? Some questions also do not create a general theme. Parang yung questions parang hinugot lang po saan-saan. Walang coherence, no? Yung questions. Also, essay should be a reflection of the interview or the talk show process, emphasizing the functions of comms and verbal and non-verbal comms. Pero some others defined what are non-verbal communication, ano yung non-verbal, ano pa ba, yung functions of yung comms, define, hindi nila kinuwento yung interview. That's what I'm talking about. Ikwento niyo yung interview, paano nangyari sa interview, while you emphasize the non-verbal, verbal, and functions of communication. Tapos, ayan, kasi nga, kaya kayo nahirapang mag-essay, ang dami nagsabi ng hirap mag-essay, and that comes too difficult for you if you didn't do the interview. Kasi ang basis ng ang basis ng essay is the interview. So, kung walang interview na naganap, wala ka talaga masusulat sa essay. So, you have to expect that, no? Also, ito pa, feedback, copying module content and submitting them as the reflection essay. Diyos ko, dito ako naloka. Siguro akala ng students na to, hindi ko alam yung content ng module and they submit that as the essay mismo, no? Also, copying content from Google searches and then submitting them as the essay. Some even submitted a research paper, parang yung abstract, tapos yung mismong salitang abstract ay naandun sa essay, di ba? Parang yon. So that clearly shows na nagpe-plagiarize kayo. Alam nyo, sa mga essay-essay na ganyan, hindi nyo ako maloloko sa mga paragraph-paragraph because I worked as an editor before. And isang tingin ko pa lang sa text, alam ko na plagiarize o hindi. Okay? So, yon. Tsaka wag yun ang antayin na picturean ko at ibigay ko sa inyo kung saan nyo kinuha yung essay. Now, points for improvement, ayan. So, you have to improve the way you comprehend instructions also. You have to improve how you seek for help and support. You have to improve how to translate interview responses from Tagalog to English. O kung nahihirapang mag-translate, pwede naman kayong mag-direct quote. Direct quote. Also, improve the way you turn in outputs, parents or guardians' engagement in the monitoring report, and pinaka-importante, how you name activity sheets because not all class advisors write the students' names in the activity sheets dahil yun nga, some others want to teach you a lesson daw, pero yun nga. So, sa inyo talaga magdedepende na that's your responsibility to name your papers. Okay? So, yon. Issues to be addressed. Ito, some parents or guardians claim that there's nobody to help or assist students in accomplishing learning tasks. Always know that we are here and your classmates are here. Nandun tayong lahat sa support group, sa chat group natin. So I hope you're all members of that. Ayan. So yun nga, not all are members. Kaya sana ma-add din natin sila. So you might want to invite your classmates, add them sa ating GC para kumpleto tayo. No? So, good luck, Modular Legends. With all that being said, wala naman akong masasabi kung hindi good luck, okay? Because all your progress depends on you. Ayan, dahil sarili nyo lang ang kalaban nyo dito, no? Kaya naman, isang malaking group hug sa inyong lahat. So, for that, next week we'll be having Principles of Speech Writing. Ayan, malapit na tayo, week 13. And week 14, Principles of Effective Speech Delivery. So, tell us how we can support you. Member na ba lahat ng chat groups? Lahat ba ng kasama ko dito sa call ay member na ng chat group? Yes po, sabi ni Angelica. Ayan, thank you. Yes daw, sabi ni Rhea Lim. Ayan. Okay, sabi ni Abby. Okay, sige. Baka may kilala kayong friend ninyo or classmate nyo na hindi pa member. Baka pwedeng paki-add nyo, no? And Emerlyn. Ayan, thank you so much. Yan. So, our groups pa rin. Ayan. For resources, ayan, you may find them all here. Sa group natin, check out our socials. Yan. And that's it for this week. Any final words before we end the call? Anything you want to say or to clarify? Ayan, thank you. Thank you, Ren, course AJ, for joining us today and for listening, no? Thank you. Picture naman tayo, no? For documentation. Mag-cam na tayo. Sige. Nag-overtime tayo ng 10 minutes. Pasensya na. No, ganyan din ako pag face-to-face, overtime din. Sige. Waiting for everyone to open their camera and let's have a photo. Ba't bumaliktad yung mukha ko? Ayan. Ayan. Okay, sabihin nyo pa game na, ha? Ayan. A 2, a 3, smile. Isa pa. 1, 2, 3, barasenyo. Ayan. Thank you for joining us today. Ayan. Emerlyn, Aaron, Denmark, Julius, J. Ann, Saiza, Rona, Rose, Angelica, Abby, Jen Carl, Ashley, Daniel, Joseph, and Rona Rose. Ayan, Saiza. Ayan. Jen Carl, sino hindi ko nabanggit. Okay. Thank you. Maraming salamat. See
Thank you po, ma'am.
you. Thank you. Ingat.
Bye-bye po.
Stop recording ko pala muna. Okay, stop recording.